Okay. Welcome, everybody. Sorry that it was. I hope that everything is fine. Yes, I'm hearable. Sorry that I was a little bit late, but I had some technical problem. Put it in the comments. I would love to see from where you are actually coming and from which country you're joining. This important, I think. Let's talk second live chat how to create a brighter future for PhD students and postdocs in life sciences, especially. And to those which don't, to people which don't know me, my name is Schaap-Oziemlak. I did my PhD in Netherlands in stem cells, and then 404 postdocs in 3 different countries, in Belgium, of course, Netherlands, but also in different cities, and in Poland. I'm originally come from Poland, so I think being actually doc and PhD student in very different universities helped me actually to indeed and how many things we could bring it. And I realized very quickly, especially in Nijmegen, when I joined organization for postdocs, and that was my first postdoc, that as a postdoc organization, we can also contribute to even these little changes. And we not always have to really always ask professor about every little thing. Of course, it's good to discuss our point of view, but we can really create different platforms and make something on our own, create something on our own, so that we can feel like we can also do something, we can also contribute to make academia a better place and create better future. And I think that's something about my past and about my activities. I've been always very active. I always was very much doer. I rather would be not a person which does complain about academia, about other organizations, about work, but rather do something to change it for better place, and also talk about this loud. And I think let's then even give a direction to change to universities, but also that's why I also joined politics in D66, where people really actively talk about academia. And I'm really proud that Minister of Higher Education, which I'm going to meet soon, he is really very open-minded, even as a physicist, very open-minded. He tries to create open science, open scientific communication, which is transparent, which is effective between different institutes, but also between industry, and how to communicate science in transparent way. So talking have to improve. So I would say that things. And last during the last live, I talked about how important is coming back from the nature. Nature actually, what is happening in academia globally. There is a lot of discrimination because my company is also developing education programs for entrepreneurs or emerging entrepreneurs, especially in terms of scientists. I think it's great to develop also programs for PhD students and postdocs, which help to create better future, meaning also entrepreneurial future for scientists, no matter at which stage they are, gaining entrepreneurial skills, learning how to set up your own company and how to work on your future innovation, not just about publication, but how to bring this publication and turn it into innovation, bring it to the market as a product, as a prototype. It's extremely important in our times, in times where academia doesn't anymore serve a lot of people, where in academia there's a 19th century education system. These things have to really change, and for this reason, that's why I'm important to share and bring this program. And it is very open culture, and no matter at which actually position you are able to reach people from the top and talk about a lot of things. So taking bottom-up approach is very important in Holland, and this equal culture, very open-minded culture, helps actually to create bridges between ministry, in that case of higher education, and private sector, but also academia. So I would start today. I talk about mentorship, that there's insufficient mentorship, and I also, as a coach, agile coach, offer for PhD students or postdoc which decided to switch from academia to industry, and they made this decision. I want to develop my career in industry because they offer me permanent job, they offer me better position, they offer me better future and development. For those people, I offer coaching, personal coaching, to help them to step into industry and further develop themselves. But today I'd like to talk about something else, about work culture. How important actually toxic work culture can lead to. And work culture, I mean, we could make it broad, but since already science indicated that there is a lot of, besides unstable conditions in academia for PhD students, postdocs, especially for postdocs, where they have sometimes 2 1-year contracts without further extension, so very kind of time limited work contract, doesn't, because I believe that's great science and great ideas only might happen in very nurturing conditions where there is sufficient mentorship and support. But I have here something which I'd like to bring from actually Dutch, this time Dutch ecosystem, academic ecosystem. This is a newspaper, Dutch newspaper Mare, Leids Universiteit Weekblad. And there's a lot of articles talking about academia in Netherlands. And I think next vlogs I will talk about PhD and issues in other countries, because I think it's good, guys, that you get this global picture and what we can do with all this important things to change. About jaarafspraken leiden tot toxische cultuur. And I will here cite, since I have Dutch nationality and speak Dutch, I speak Dutch, understand that that helps me also to create business, but also to create good relationships, also within academia and academic leaders, but also politicians. So in Dutch, I will only read piece of it, and I will translate it so that everything for you, it becomes more inclusive. Because of course in Holland official language is Dutch in politics and in higher science structures, but we have to be open, we have to be inclusive, and we have to more and more talk about what happens in Netherlands, and bring to people which don't understand Dutch actually what is really happening. So that's why I thought I will read part of it and then translated it and discuss with you guys, and hopefully this will be insightful and very useful. So jonge wetenschapper tekenen vaak jaarafspraken en nemen blijven doorwerken. Dat blijkt uit een onderzoek van FNW, promovendi en postdoc-partij PhDoc en het Leids promovendi overleg. So the title, actually, what you can already heard, it's about jaarafspraken. And jaarafspraken are actually, for those which don't know about typical, I would say, procedures when you are hired as a PhD student or postdocs or a staff employee, is that you have sort of evaluation meeting with your group leader. And this is jaarafspraak. Jaar is a year. So these are every year you have this evaluation where you talk about your performance, about your actually group leader is giving you sort of evaluation in terms of description, how did you perform, but also is talking about work which needs to be done. And what I found, so that is jaarafspraak. But this article says that there are problems with this year evaluations. And it's good that in this article there are also people which are brought representing young researchers, so PhD students, but also staff members, so more advanced. But there have been surveys done and represented actually PhD docs, so organizations of PhD students, but also I will give you a link in the comments. But apparently there is a problem with this year evaluations, because in that case, Leiden University talks about that regarding holidays, this and indicating days, 3 days during for holidays, this doesn't have to be already included into in this year evaluation. Although what is actually happening, that for 65 full-time workers who participated in enquete, apparently there was 20 which said or expressed it, that in 2021 they got, or actually could take, or around 21 days, while they have right to take 3 days, from 29 to 41 days. And this created sort of tension, especially for when you have year evaluation with your PI, principal investigator, or your basically boss of the lab, and you discuss holidays. And of course, it's clearly shown that the students which have good relationship with their PIs, group leaders, can do it in very normal, flexible, on very normal, flexible basis and working conditions. So this doesn't bring any problem. But other students are actually forced to work during weekends, and they have right to use these days, they can't, because they're afraid that they simply will not be evaluated well. And I think this is important to realize this, because if indeed that also is not about PhD students but also postdocs, if indeed you have situation that your boss is asking you to keep working, I think this indeed creates toxic environment, because you feel under extreme pressure, and this can lead to burnout, to lack actually of performance. And I think your boss, your PI, should realize that this is something which has to be brought to HR department. If your boss doesn't react on it, my advice is to bring a HR person for such evaluation and discuss 3 days, especially when your boss is not allowing you take a free because of work. And work is, as I know from my experience, is all the time there is something to do in the lab, and every time there is something to work more or harder. But we all humans, and we all have time. We all have right for sufficient amount of time to recover, because scientists job of scientists in life sciences, when especially we work with animals, and when you start to feel that your week is exceeding 50 hours per week, that's already, I would say, a bell to notify this to your PI. If your PI, for example, is not aware of that can also happen. And if your PI is aware, but he doesn't do anything, and he's still pushing and pushing and pushing, I think there is something important to bring HR person into such year evaluation and discuss it in open way, without, of course, being too aggressive. Bringing it in very open, I would say, diligent way, but talking about this, talking loud about this, and talking about your work balance. That's extremely important. Otherwise, you guys are burnt out. And if you're really afraid of saying it, talk to other PhD students which can help you and support you. Or talk to postdocs. I think that's also a good thing. So that's one thing which I like to talk about. And indeed, or we get rid of yearly, basically, evaluations, because otherwise, if they bring really pressure and they are not really justified, I don't see a point of having them. And that also creates maybe less bureaucratic system, because then PIs don't have to write also all these long reports. But maybe we can create a system which is more time efficient and shorter. And I would not. Actually, I was really surprised that discussing 3 days um, became toxic issue. For me, that's very natural. If somebody works hard, deserves also break or holidays afterwards. So that's one thing which I like to talk about. The other thing from this newspaper, for me, it was quite a big eye opener, is talking about, and I would like to also, we already have 21 minutes, so I hope that I can really finish it. It's about changing this environment, and you guys think that I joined politics and I already have such extensive experience as a scientist, but also scientist entrepreneur, and now I'm in a political party. I know Dutch, so it's way easier for me to express and be advocate for other PhD students and postdocs in Netherlands. I have some proposition for you to become also doer instead of only complaining and being afraid. There are also university, you can see the Universiteit Verkiezingen 2023, so 2023. These are actually voting basically for all the students which want to be in the university part, actually leading committee. So they are not only professors, but they are also students which are nominated by other students. And this is possible to do it even via internet or by so digital way. And they were organized already between March 21st and 22nd. There were candidates, but they were also voting for the students, which in that case take part in the leading committee at universities. And I think that's very good, because these students are representing bottom, actually, and they can influence, actually, I would not say bottom, but they represent important part university, not necessarily PhDs, postdocs, but also they can also be part of it, of this leading committee. And I think this is really really important that such a possibility is. So if you think, I want to be there, I want to be in leading committee, I want to be postdoc PhD students which also want to contribute to the changes in university, even jaargesprek, I think that's something which could be taken care of also by students with postdocs and professors, and be changed so that we create nurturing culture and not toxic culture. So that's something else which I'd like to say. And the other part, which I think this is the last one, because I think I wanted to make sure that I run into 15 minutes, but there are so many things which are on the board which I'd like to discuss. And the other thing is coming to this toxic culture is, of course, if your PI is thinking that you are his slave of 21st century, and or you undergo intimidation, verbal aggression from your PI. I also have seen that many times. I know that not everybody can right away react to it and defend himself, and not every time your colleagues, postdocs, or PhD students, which are in such bullying lab, help you. So this is the article that brought my attention, because this is, I think, happening everywhere. This is not just Dutch university, but it's happening everywhere. And about this, I will also talk about Poland. I will talk also about this, what we need to change in Poland, because this thing's also happening in Poland, in big cities, even in capital city, Warsaw. So I'm going to talk about this next time, and some PIs. But just to warn people also, and preventing joining such groups. But this is the article which is about Een op de 5 medewerkers heeft last van intimidatie en agressie-uitsluiting. Ruim 80% van de medewerkers van de faculteit geestwetenschappen ervaart ongewenst gedrag zoals intimidatie, verbale agressie, uitsluitingen en rodelen door collega's. Dat is volstrekt unacceptable. So it is about that 1 of 5 actually employees suffered intimidation and aggressive behavior. And this comes actually from Faculty of Humanities, but this is happening everywhere. And this is article which is written by Sebastian van Loosbroek. And for me, it was very difficult to realize that the group which actually is the most vulnerable are the international PhD students or international postdocs, and staff with temporary employment. These have the lowest social security, meaning they are the most vulnerable for intimidation, aggression, bullying from their bosses, but also from other colleagues than other groups. And I think what faculty here is deciding, and I was really happy that there are people involved from HR, that they decided to prepare a sort of intervention for it. And it's good that they recognize this, and it's good that this article did appear, because many times, because of harassment, doesn't matter which type of harassment it is, the victim usually stays quiet. But it's good that HR is bringing here initiative, and this initiative is important. For me, one of the important things which leads of the leading committee discussing is how we can solve problems of social security. So how we can solve, actually they call it social security, but this means how we can solve the problem of social intimidation at any level. And they also bring, bullies can be your PhD students, can be postdocs to each other, but there also can be PIs, bosses, which are bullies, because they are, I always think, they think that they are a boss, so they have power of syndrome, so they can think that they can snap on you, they can be aggressive, they can do anything, because you have temporary contracts, you will never say anything because you will be afraid, right? They all the time use this fear argument, which I found horrible. And it's good that actually professors and HR are bringing it, other professors are bringing it, and are against this intimidation, personal intimidation. And they talk even about that every person which would like to become PI, so principal investigator, they have to actually, the best solution would be to test them. So perform all different psychometric tests, psychophysical tests, to prove if they, for example, don't suffer any psychological or psychiatric diseases. If they have right capabilities to manage people, if they haven't notified in their any place they work before any sexual harassment. This is also happening, and I've seen that a lot. And America is, unfortunately, even Harvard is a bad example of this, which happened in the past. But also, indeed, this psychometric tests, that you are not just good researcher, that's not enough, that you have maybe thousands of 300 publications, but you are really psychologically are matched to this function, because this function is very important and has extreme impact on so many PhD student and postdocs' career. And if you are going to be notified from your past that you bullied, that you sexually harassed, you should have no actually allowance to step into function of PI at new university, because you think if you go to new place, nobody will know about this. Well, be careful, because past doesn't disappear. And also victims, when you were ever bullying very good scientists or very talented students. So I really like that in these articles it's brought that indeed such psychological tests have to be performed on leidinggevende functie, so the PI function, and only people which are fit based on this test, and also the past reference letters are very important to not only use their professors which support them, but also other independent professors which collaborated, for example, with them and seeing different situations. And this should be not just a choice, but it should be a law. So this has to come from policy level, that every PI, before he becomes PI and takers of students and managing people, have to be carefully scrutinally examined if he is really fitting for this function. So in this way we can prevent or minimize the risk of intimidation and aggression. So we have great nurturing PIs, which are helping us to build not only great innovations, science, writing publications together, teaching us how to work ethically correctly, which I was very happy actually that I was in such labs, and bringing this high ethical level in every aspect of science, especially at university. So this is, I would say, three pieces which I wanted to talk about. As you can see, we can already draw certain things in the program, right? Removing year evaluations or reforming them, so that there is no issues of not taking 3 days and actually having right and fulfilling this completely, and that HR is also keeping and monitoring on it. Then we have, so that's one change. Second change is joining as a PhD student or postdocs to leading committees of universities. If you guys don't know where to join, I can help you here. So I can indicate you people which you can join, and actually the student organizations, postdocs organizations, which are very active with working with Raad van Bestuur van universities. So the executive committees of Leiden University also, but also it's not only about Leiden University, but many different universities. It's applied to all different universities in Netherlands. And of course, in bringing policy where psychological tests for future PIs are obligatory before they can step into such a responsible function. So I would say that's something which I'd like to share today. And it's very important that we really feel as a PhD student and postdocs in future PIs that we can improve things at university. And mentorship, something like mentorship and work culture, is something which doesn't require to change university structure, but can influence the structure, because as I showed in previous vlogs, in terms of transformation and creating transformation programs for universities of 21st or 22nd century, by influencing and working on work culture, which is not intimidating, which is not full of bullies, which is stimulating research and nurturing conditions to grow new generations of scientists, and allowing them to have perfect, hopefully, work-life balance, that they can use 3 days and take simply a rest and recover, because that's very hard work. It's important that we all realize that, because I know that it's sometimes, if I talk to professors, professors have very different view because they look from top position. And I always give this example that if you sit at the 22nd floor and imagine, and in terms of position or perspective, and you have PhD students which are postdocs which are at the second floor or fifth floor, well, you from the 22nd floor will not see so many things as actually PhD student postdoc, which is sitting at the fifth floor of the hierarchy. So, it's good to make professors aware what is happening at the work floor level. It's good to talk to them, because many times they don't know about this. And many times I think it's good to communicate, at least in very diligent way, to them what are the issues. And please, guys, before you step into in difficult situations with your PIs, talk first to them, and talk to HR, because that's something which I always think we need to develop certain level of dialogue. Even it's difficult, we need to do it. It's a little bit like in politics. We need to have a dialogue, even with people which we disagree. But the bullies, people which are sexually harassed and they are PIs, these people have to be eliminated from academia. And that's something which I'm going to also advocate for. These people have no place in academia. Even they would come from Harvard to other countries, they have no such right. Because they came from Harvard doesn't give them ultimate right to mistreat others in any way. So that's what my experiences are, especially for PIs which I was in contact which were coming from Harvard, unfortunately, because I still think that it is great university, but some people should have never entered Harvard, because I don't know what they learned there as a principal investigators, because they start to mistreat people in other countries when they came back from United States. So about this, I'm also going to talk, and I think this is good to talk, because I hope more and more of you will also open up, and we'll also see from, because I'm a positive person, I try to introduce positive changes. I'm trying to talk to also my colleagues politicians from D66 about these issues, and a Minister of Higher Education in the Netherlands, but also try to recognize it also as a case that maybe Minister of Higher Education in Poland and professors which also want to create nurturing conditions in academia to create better future for PhD students and postdocs worldwide in their countries at their universities also can join this live chat. And I think that's what I would like to say today. I think my life goes into 37 minutes, but these are things which are really close to my heart. Because I have very strong academic background, and I would like that things in academia really are changing for better. So that's what I'd like to say today. And I don't know if you guys have questions. I think I don't know if you have questions. I think there was somebody, my colleague Muhammad, if I can at least mention his first name. He wants to he looks for better future as a lecturer, as a senior lecturer in Europe. And I think once maybe we'll talk with Muhammad about perspective is his country for development in academia, but he wants to clearly go to and join one of the countries of Benelux. So I said to him that Holland is pretty already overcrowded. Of course, there are possibilities, but I think Belgium and Luxembourg maybe can be better option, because there is also great like Johnson and Johnson, but also other possibilities at universities, and maybe hopefully he will find a great workplace there, because indeed regarding jobs for senior postdocs which want to stay at university, I think there's also hopefully will be possibility to get position of lecturer at university. So I don't know if you are hearing me, Muhammad, but good luck to you. And you can also put in the comments here maybe possibilities or which you're looking for. And hopefully some people from the chat will also, watching this live, will also contact you. If they have some, if they have some ideas or they have some places or labs or university as a senior lecturer, or opportunities which are arriving soon, or maybe professors which are listening to my live. I hope that some of them will. Maybe they have also something for you from universities in Luxembourg, but also Belgium, so they can really help you there to find your way as a lecturer in Benelux. So I hope that I was not talking too fast, but all these things are so important, and and so close to my heart that I feel really even of this vision. My vision is part of a future university that would be a huge success. Because as a startup, I also care about future of PhDs and postdocs, and I'd like actually to create possibilities of with university, together with university, as a collaborative project, hiring postdocs and PhD students in my startup to create a better transition from academia to industry, especially for PhD students, postdocs, which want to make this transition, and they make this decision. I think this should be kept as an option, as an important option. Since recently I heard that only 0.5, 0.4 or 0.5% becomes a professor. So 99.5% has to find their way in terms of long-term career planning outside of academia. And I think if university will not think about these possibilities, how to engage these people in university structures, I don't imagine a 99.5% of people will find their jobs outside of academia. The market is not as broad as we think. That's why I talk so much about changing universities into not factories of PhD students, but changing universities in terms of structure, which are developing different organizations or what kind of substructures. And about the substructures I will talk next time, meaning incubators, internal incubators within universities, which already are happening, which are already I was very happy to meet some people representing incubator of Erasmus MC. But I also will try to reach to incubator at Columbia University in New York, which already had some incubator already many years ago. So they are more experienced, but this type of incubators as substructures have to become a very vital part of universities, where scientists can work on their innovation and develop this as a product and make science very useful for society. And this will happen in a week, but I will also talk about all different types of harassments. This is important to bring it. This is important to talk about this, and all the people which feel victim and are actually harassed nowadays. I will talk about some examples how Harvard University solve, hopefully, because I don't know all the details. I have some colleagues on Harvard, close colleagues, but how Harvard University, one of the top universities in the world, solved or meant to solve in very good way a problem of sexual harassments. And about this, I also will talk on next vlog. So please stay tuned and see you next time. And if there are some questions, I don't see yet any questions coming, but if there are some questions, please put it in the comments. I'm happy to answer these questions on my next live, and see you next time. So thank you for listening, and have a good day. And always believe that there will be university of 21st or second century, which will be great example of fantastic nurturing working conditions for scientists, for PhD students, for postdocs, with great mentors, PIs, which are multipliers. Which are not harassing at any circumstances. And if they are severely punished and actually eliminated from the science. So thanks a lot for listening, and have a good day. In US, I think it's whole day still because it's 6 hours back in Boston. But for those which are staying in Europe, don't give up. Believe that there are structures, there are possibilities to create your future at university, but also around university in very positive way. So thanks a lot again, and see you next time. Bye.